Hello guys, this is Matrix Ray, and I'm showing you some resolution comparisons between native 1440p versus native PS2. I will also be doing some frame rate testing and show you guys the best settings for Alien Hominoid. We are using large frame buffer, custom resolution of 2560 by 1440p, native, 16 times anisotropic filtering, mip mapping is off, full direct 3D recommended is enabled, and we have 16 times MSAA on. Now with MSAA turned on at 16 times at 1440p, the game only uses 920 odd megabytes of video RAM, so just under 1 gigabyte. We are using texture filtering of display, FXAA shader, they're both enabled, and we're also using bilinear forced including sprites. Now keep in mind, this game does have a lot of sprite issues, especially when you're using bilinear PS2. Plus, most of the game, if not all the game, remains very blocky and unfiltered. So you have to turn on bilinear forced, including sprites, or just forced. Now, even with the setting turned on, there's still sprite issues. I will show you very shortly. We're using Direct 3D11 as well. Now we have MTBU enabled. Keep in mind, this game is really easy to run, but I have it on because the FMVs in the game run really slow, so I'd recommend it on just because of that. I'd keep it on just for that, but for the internal game, don't worry about it, you can have it off. You need 3+ cores, I have 6 cores, so we're fine. This game targets 640 by 480, and also this game does target 30 frames per second. My counter's on the top left, it says 60, but that is not right. If it drops down to 59, that means I dropped a frame, and I also dropped 1% speed. Okay, let's have a look over here. Now, all the sprite issues are on hardware mode. Currently, I'm on software mode. Whoops, I forgot there's that button there. Now, alright, let's have a look at native 1440p. Now, keep in mind, since this is a PS2 game, and since it's what do you call it, a 2D game, those two, in a combination, don't really have an impact much on 1440p, unfortunately. So here's native PS2, here's native 1440p. You guys probably won't really notice much of a difference. This game's using PS2 assets, so like really low pixel textures for assets. So if you look at that, let's have a look at something. You see that pole right there? You can already see there's a bit of sharp stair steps on the side of it. It's because the initial resolution they used on that texture there was probably like, I don't know, just a bit under 100 pixels or so, maybe a bit over. I'm not too terribly sure, but basically what I'm trying to say is it's really hard to tell the difference between native 1440p and the native PS2 on this game, just because it's very everything's all made for that low resolution for the PS2 at the time. Let's go back to native PS2. The game holds up 30 frames quite well, which is really good. Died there. But that's pretty much it. There's not really much behind this game to really explain. I'll show you guys the broken sprites. Now if I go to native 1440p, you can see that by pressing start, there are some unintended lines on the screen. It says paused player 1. You can see there's a bit of a rectangle there, and then on the side there's 2 buttons, there's a bit of a line there. On the right hand side there's 2 lines, and below the guy's thumb, the alien's thumb, there's another one there. If I go back to native PS2, it's all blurred off. The text HUD is blurry. Also the what do you call it? The sprites have also been taken off as well. But if you look a little bit below those 2 buttons, you can see there's a bit of a shift on the black line. It's because it's still kind of there even on the software mode. So I'm not sure what happened there when they made this game. But at native 1440p, everything is a lot sharper. The text is still outdated in my opinion. But hey, everything still looks pretty good even at 1440p. The HUD on the top left, where the heart is, and then the hominoid and infinite ammo, that looks a lot clearer at 1440p, but remains a little bit more blockier at a higher resolution. But that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.